Okay, today we're going to learn a new method for solving systems of equation. And this method is called elimination. So you're going to get this foldable. It's going to be in the folder with the concept 2 things. You're going to fold it where you leave this tab up a little bit so you're able to see what this foldable is about. And we have 2 concepts in one, or 2 methods in one. It's all elimination, but the first one we're going to eliminate using addition and subtraction. And then the second way we're going to do it is by multiplying first. So in this video, we're going to focus on addition and subtraction. So you can do it, you can learn it here and then practice it on your independent practice. And then you can come back and watch the video on multiplying first and then use the practice, pick the practice for multiplying or practice it on the practice. So let's start with addition and subtraction. So in order for elimination to work, you need 2 linear equations, of course, but specifically, let me try to zoom this in here. Specifically, the linear equations that you need, hold on, give me a second. There we go. No. There, perfect. The linear equations that you need is you need them to have opposite coefficients of each other because you want to eliminate that variable. So here we have a -5 and a 5. -5 and 5 are opposite numbers of each other, and they're a coefficient in front of x. So that means that if we add these, we can eliminate our x, and that's what you want. So I'm going to add these 2 equations together because this eliminates x, because -5x plus 5x is 0. Then I am left with -6y. Sorry, that's not what I meant to do. Then we're left with -6y plus 2y. So we add those together also because you're going to add everything together. So -6y plus 2y is -4y. 8 plus 4 is 12. So then all we do is solve for y, and that gives me -3. So we solve for y. So now we have to still find x, because remember, our solution is an ordered pair. So I'm going to move over so I can have some more space. And I'm going to do the same thing I did for substitution. I'm going to get my new variable for y, or my new value for y, and I'm going to plug it into one of the equations. So I'm going to plug it into my second equation because I see the positive numbers and that makes it look easier for me. But you can plug it into whichever one you want, whatever looks easiest for you to solve, because we want to work as efficiently as possible to make this easy on ourselves. I'm going to change colors. All right, so 5x just comes down. 2 times -3 is -6 equals 4. So I need to solve for x. So I add 6 to both sides. I am left with, move down a little bit, 5x equals 10. I divide 5 to both sides. X equals 2. That means that my solution for this is x is 2 and y is -3. And here's my final answer for this. Okay? So what did we do? We had 2 coefficients that were opposites with this in front of the same variable. And all we did was add each term. So -5x plus 5x is 0, so it canceled. -6 plus 2y was -4. And then 8 plus 4 was 12. You solve for the variable, which is -3. And then you use that new value and you substitute into one of the equations to solve for the other variable. Okay? So let's remember what the goal of this is. The goal of this is to eliminate a variable. And so for this first one, eliminate a variable. For this first one, you're going to use addition and subtraction for this left side, okay? So let's look at example 2. So if we're looking at example 2, x has 6x minus 3x. That is not opposite of each other. So we're gonna leave that alone for now. Negative 4x plus 4y. These are opposite coefficients in front of y. So this is where we're gonna end up being able to eliminate. So again, they're opposite of each other. So all I have to do is add them and they'll eliminate. So 6x plus negative 3. So it's the same as 6 minus 3, which is 3x. Negative 4y plus 4y gets eliminated. 14 plus 1 is 15. And then you solve for 3. Not for 3, excuse me, for x, by dividing by 3. So x equals 5. So we have 5. Now we need to find, we have x, now we need to find y. So I'm going to use the second formula, and I'm going to substitute my new x into here. So negative 3 times 5 plus 4y equals 1. So I'm solving for y. So I add 15 to both sides because I have to use my inverse operation. That leaves me with 4y equals 16. You divide both sides by 4, y equals 4. So my solution that needs to be written in an ordered pair is 5, 4. Okay? Oops, you didn't see that. All right? So that's for adding. So let's move on to the next one, example 3. Here we're gonna have to use, we're gonna notice something that's different. So here I have 4x and 5x. Those are not the opposites or the same number. Here I have 3y and 3y. These are not opposites, they are the same number. So I need to subtract instead of add, because that way that will be eliminated. So if they have the same sign, you're going to subtract them. If they have opposite signs already, all you have to do is add them. So in this case, we're subtracting. So 4x, let me scoot this up a little bit. 4x minus 5x is negative x. 3y minus 3y is 0, so that gets canceled. So here's where we get confused because we have to use our integer rows. 2 minus negative 2, so it looks like this. Remember, that is the same as 2 plus 2, so that is 4. So then I divide negative 1 to both sides. X equals negative 4. So it's the same thing, but now we're subtracting. All right, so it's my easy part. I just substitute this back in there. So I'm gonna use the first linear equation. So 4x times negative 4 plus 3y equals 2. So I have to solve for y. So I'm going to add 16 to both sides because I'm using the inverse operation. That cancels. 3y equals 18. I divide 3 to both sides. This cancels. Y equals 6. So my solution to this, if I put my order here together, it's going to be negative 4 and 6. Okay? All right, let's do one more like this because I know the subtraction one is a little bit harder. Here, let me see if you need to see that work. All right, make sure you pause it if you need to pause it, okay? And then rewind. Okay, so next, example 4. 5x and negative x. The other one is 6y plus 6y. Here is what, they're the same coefficient. So what do? Are we gonna add these or subtract it to eliminate it? We're gonna have to subtract. So 5x minus negative x. So 5x minus negative x means that we have to add them, because those two negatives tell me that I need to change it to a positive. So if I have 5 x's and I'm adding another x, now I have 6 x's. 6y minus 6y is 0, so we just cancel. 50 minus 26 is 24. Then I'm solving for x, so I have to divide by 6. So x equals 4. So I have my x value. Now I'm going to substitute it into, this one looks easy for me, so I'm going to substitute into that one. So all I did was I got my negative x and I put my new value of 4. So let me show you what I did. So negative x plus 6, let me change my colors so it doesn't all blend together. Negative x plus 6y equals 26. So I took my second equation, I substituted my negative 4. Oh, excuse me, my 4, and it gave me negative 4. Now I have to solve for y. So I'm adding 4 to both sides. So I'm left with 6y equals 30. I divide 6 to both sides, so y equals 5. So that means that my solution is an ordered pair. That's 4. What did I say the one was? 5. So this is your solution. Okay? So if you need to go back and figure and understand this a little bit better, please feel free to go rewind, pause, use it as many times as you need to. Let's summarize what we just did, so we'll remember when we have to do this by ourselves. So basically, when we're using addition and subtraction, you have to choose either addition or subtraction. So the operation, I'll put op. The op that will eliminate a variable, so one of the variables. Okay, so that's what we're doing with addition and subtraction. We're gonna, depending on which one we use, depends on that. Another thing that we need to remember when we use this is we add when there's opposite coefficients. And then we're going to subtract when they have the coefficient has the same sign. So same sign coefficient. So the same number with the same sign. So same sign, number, coefficients. That's when we subtract. Okay, so hopefully this is an easy thing for you to do. Again, like I said before, rewind, look at it as many times as you need to. Feel free to ask me questions if you need, when we're in class or over Google Classroom if you have any questions. But make sure you're choosing one of the 3 practices and you're completing these notes because these are part of your requirement for your grade for this section. All right, I'll see you whenever we do the multiplication.